Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome everybody to I just have to laugh. I have blindsided these two individuals into being on the show and being on air today, and they're like, I gotta fix this and I gotta do that. It's like, no, you don't. You're perfect. You're perfect as you are. And so I just have to giggle. Anyway, it's great to have everybody here. I'm looking forward to putting together a great show for you. We got lots of information to pass your way and to talk about, and including a big interview that we have coming up here on Positive Talk. And we're going to talk to Dana, who is she's my coach. She's a significant presence in our world, and she does great. And I'm introducing Brichelle to the program, who is new to us, but there is a story behind that I really need to tell. But first, I want to introduce Dana, who acts as a co-host on Friday, even when she doesn't expect to be acting as a co-host on Friday. Dana, how are you?
Hello. Good thing I'm quick on my feet. Yeah, doing so good. I love Fridays because I love all the varieties of discussions we get to have and all the fun. Kevin, it's always fun with you. It's always dynamic and fun, and you never know what's going to happen.
And by the way, before we begin, I wanted to give a shout out to a young lady who is out of New York who called Brushwood Media or sent them an email to say that she likes the show. I make her smile. She was a teacher for 35 years in New York. She's 89 years old. I'm going to keep her name private so that but she listens to Brushwood Media all day, and she loves our show, and she loves you guys. And I just wanted to give that shout out to her and thank her for reaching out, because not a lot of people do. They listen.
Until now, Kevin, let's not put that out there. Just so you know, everyone listening, we love to hear from you. We love it. It like lights our souls up to know that you're listening, and anything you want to hear more about, or any topic suggestions, or anything you want to share with us, just so you know, it feeds our souls to hear from you. So you're always welcome to call in, to email in, to share those things, and let us know if you want to stay anonymous. That's totally fine. And because we may or may not share it, but we get so excited. And Kevin, you are starting to hear regularly from people who are listening, which is so enjoyable.
Well, it is why we do this. We do this because we want to help people, and we want to create an enjoyable experience for them. And it really is. It drives it. You're right. It absolutely drives us. It's why we do what we do.
Yep.
We love our people.
Yay.
Yes. We do indeed. And that, by the way, is Brichelle. Now, I've got a story that we need to tell about you and how the story came to be that you got here. But first, next week, we are recording an interview, which will probably air the week after that. And we're recording an interview with, I have to tell this story because this is fun. I had an opportunity to talk to Gary Zukav, who wrote Seed of the Soul. And he volunteered to come on the show, and he's going to be on the week after next. And I was talking with a gal by the name of Mary, and she was like, oh, I love him. I would really love to talk to him. And I said, well, you want to come on the show? And she said, seriously? And I said, well, yeah, you love him, and he's a great author, and Seed of the Soul is a wonderful book. It was a life-changing book for a lot of people. And so you're certainly welcome to come on the show. And we get our first person to chime in, and that is Jen.
We love you, Jen.
The
You,
purpose
Jen.
and passion behind it all. She's awesome, and so thank you, Jen. She's one of the people that is in your area, which is going to cause us. I'm going to drag Holly out of her house and make her come down to Salt Lake City in a couple of months.
Yes.
And to see all you guys and take you out to dinner and all that kind of stuff. But in any event, so I told her that she could come on the show, and then in the subsequent conversation I had with Dana, and I relayed that because it really touched my heart that she wanted to come on the show, and I was able to gift her that because that's somebody that she really, 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 really wanted to talk to and didn't think she ever would. And so Dana says, well, and I said, you can come on the show too. And she said, no, leave that to Mary. Which is very gracious.
Let her have the fullest of experiences in that.
Okay.
And so, but you said, if you ever run into Neale Donald Walsch, I would really love to. And I said, well, let me delve into that. So I made a couple of phone calls, and turns out he has a book that came out in November, I believe. And so we made the decision, them and I, that he was going to come on the show. So then I got the distinct pleasure of hearing Dana squeal, actually, when
True.
and I said, we have Neale Donald Walsch, and he's coming on this day. Are you available? And you were like, am I available?
I will move anything I need to be available. Because his books really did change my life at a time where I was revamping and reconstructing my views of God. And his books, they changed me. And the way he talks and the way he speaks, he's just a soothing presence for my soul. And I secretly, since I read those books so many years ago, I'm like, one day it would be so amazing to meet him. I wonder if I'll ever get to experience that. I thought that in those years where I was reading that book. And I actually looked him up to see, like, does he do live events? Is there any way I can make that happen? And so it's been so fun to have it be so, like, years later, come back around and be so easy. Like, all I had to do is show up. And I get to talk with him. Like, that's amazing. And I started listening to all the books again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just have all the questions. I'm so excited.
I'm not going to get a word in edgewise, but that's okay.
That could be true, but I'll try to remember.
Well, it's one of those. It'd be like, for me, it would be like if I got the opportunity to interview Sir Paul McCartney. That would be the absolute creme de la creme. That would be just make me so happy. But and I don't know. We'll see. But the thing is, Neale is he's 80 now, and so now is the good time. But he just put out another book. Describe that book before we get into Brachelle's story. Tell us about that book that he has out. I believe it's called God Talks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite thing about this book and why I highly recommend it, especially growing up in a very structured religious format of how God speaks to me and how God is and the essence of who he is, Neale brings such a freshness of perspective and brings in this perspective of the whole book is about different people's experiences with God. And these miraculous experiences and these everyday experiences in all its different forms. And I think that my favorite thing about it is a reminder that there are so many varieties and ways that God speaks to us. And it kind of just opens up your mind and your perspective to start asking the question, how do I interact with the divine? How do I interact with them, him, her, them, however that looks for you? And what does that look like for me? And I think that that developing that intuition, we actually are being, it's more important than ever to be connected, I think, to that inner guidance, that higher power inner guidance, whatever that means for you. If it's your highest and best self, if it's the universe. I actually don't think God cares what they're called, you know, just with that intention of what's there. And because, you know, we can look up anything on the internet and find conflicting points of view. Logic can always talk logic out of logic. You can always argue 2 points, but to have that intuition and that inner guidance and to feel connected for your own life, where you're going, the purpose of why you're here. Like, these are all elements that I think people are craving in this life. They're wanting.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And by the way, that is a wonderful, wonderful segue to the story that I'd love to tell that involves Burchelle and you and me and how this all came together. And I want to talk about what the future holds for all of that. So Burchelle was somebody that I did not know a month ago. She was she worked with Dana and had been doing that for a while, but she also, like I have, and like Dana has, had what I like to call a bad country music song period. In her case, it was a major part of her growing up and her life. I don't know how you guys do it, because women have to deal with all kinds of stuff that guys just don't. And so it's hard for me to even put my head around some of the things. But she grew up, and well, I don't want you, Burchelle, to talk about anything specifically, but I would like you to just talk in terms of what was your life like before 6 months ago?
Oh, wow. 6 months ago. I was confused. I was so confused. I really knew the idea of what I could picture that I wanted for my life and where I wanted to see myself. And I had this maybe in my head of what I could be. Um, but I really didn't think it would be anything like it has. And during the midst of it, it was seemed to just get harder and harder and harder as things do. But once it leveled out and it kind of just all hit me at once, it was the most beautiful, magical, powerful thing that I think is possible to feel within yourself, especially as a human. You know, you get to points where there's things that don't make sense past being human, and you kind of just have to allow it. You have to embrace it, and it all comes down to trusting and loving yourself first and foremost every single time.
I tell you, the changes in you have been monumental in the
They
last
have.
in the
They
last
have.
6 months.
We have. From the moment I met Burchelle, which by the way, we met I was doing sound baths for a couple months with a friend here in the Salt Lake area, and she came one of the nights and we met, and it was like, you know, I don't know if everyone experiences this, but it's one of my favorite things about my life in particular is there's certain people I meet that I'm like, oh, my soul connects deeply with this person's soul. Like I instantly felt this friendship, this connection with Burchelle. And when she decided to step in and start working with me, like, guys, when people decide to step in and work with me, it lights my soul up. Like we get into like, okay, what do you want in your life? And how can we infuse life into that? And how can we baby step our way there? And how can we take these actions that are really transformational? I care so deeply about real lasting change. And so breathing that life into Burchelle, like where she started and where she is, like we just celebrated on the call just before this call, we had our session. We just celebrated like she is where she wanted to be at the beginning of our sessions. Like she is there. She's living it. She's living out that dream place where she wanted to be when we first started. And that is so exciting to my soul. She's done the work. She's put in the time. She shows up on our sessions. She's doing that inner healing that's creating the space for her to step into her dreams. And she's doing it. And there's nothing better in the world than to see that growth in somebody to achieve what they want for their life. And that's the point of actually hiring a coach and getting people's outside perspective and rallying people around you that believe in you, because they infuse life into your goals, into your dreams, and then help you step your way to that. So it's been a joy.
When I'm able to have help and guide so many people along the way, and even the way that I'm treated and respected and viewed, or even the way I view things, is it's not the same person, and I still love her, and it is so beautiful.
Now I want to go back into the mists of time.
Yes.
And talking about Neil Donald Walsh's book, God Talks. I believe that there is a plan that we get access to in our lives that is put there for us. Now we can deny it and we can say yes or no or whatever we want to do with free will. But I want to go back to the first time that I met Dana, because that's where it all began. And I had interviewed somebody else and who had a book, and he recommended that I talk to Dana. And so I interviewed Dana. Dana, what did you think of that first interview? And because I remember distinctly what you said.
Yeah. Again, I just love the soul recognition. There's something magical about it for me that makes me feel like connected to this there's a higher vision, and that we came here and our souls have forgotten who we really are and the beings that we've interacted with before this. And for me, my spirituality is all based on joy. Like, if it brings my soul joy, I'm a yes to that belief. And so this belief that I interacted and knew people before I came here is pure joy for my soul. That's why I choose it, because it brings me joy now. And so knowing that, and I don't feel that with every single person, but there's certain people that I'm like, whoa. So before I got on with Kevin, I was listening to his show, just kind of, checking out the feel of it and really feeling into showing up on the show and making sure that it's that I'm in alignment with what he's about. And I heard his voice and I was like, I know Kevin. I know Kevin, and this is going to be so much fun. And it has absolutely been a joy. Kevin has believed in me and supported me through some of my hardest months in the last couple of years. He's reminded me of my greatness again and again, and helped me have the courage to stand back up and to have confidence in what I'm doing. Kevin is a huge reason why I am where I am in my coaching. And it's never been better. Like, business is so good. And I feel more confident than ever in working with my clients. And this is what happens when we get into that state of allowing and see the magic in life and in our interactions with people. People can transform our lives. Listening to positive talk can transform your life, because it's our heart's desire and intention for you that this station, that our videos and that our communications with you we really care genuinely about all of our listeners and people. We think about you. We want to just put out the best to improve your life in any way that we can. So genuinely.
See, Rochelle, I told you we'd get her to cry at one point, didn't I?
Yeah.
So this is how I view it. First of all, I've been doing positive talk for several years, and it started in 2003, way back when. And I'm always looking for great people that I can kind of hook my wagon to, that can talk to our audience and to people in a really powerful way. And I sensed that in you from that moment. And it to my mind, it was like, my guides are funny people. I don't know if you You've
love
met
them.
them. And
Yeah.
so they're like, look, okay, let's have him meet her, and they're going to get along because they've done this before, and now they're going to be able to do it again. And now
Yeah.
that was piece one
Hmm.
that we started to work together, and then I had you on the show and kept having you on the show because we have always had more to talk about and more things to do.
It's true.
And in the meantime, in my world, I was trying to find a group of people or a team that would make sense. I found one who led me to another, and then Dana acts as a co-host, but I was still missing a piece.
Mhm.
And I wanted this piece to be somebody that was like-minded, who was smart, who was intelligent, who could do some things that I wanted to see, I wanted to be able to see done. And so you and I, Dana, because I
Yeah,
hired you as my coach,
it's
and
true.
I highly recommend um, Inner World Movement is the name of her website. Go there, hire her. She's extraordinary.
Mhm.
And so she and I were sitting there, and I was saying, I need another individual. I need a person who I can trust, who is like-minded, who we can. And so we started thinking about it, and we talked and we meditated about it, and we talked to my
Mhm.
guides about it, and we were actually writing a job description. I don't know if
Mhm.
you remember this, but we were actually writing a job description for this
Mhm.
individual. And then your internet cut out. And so I waited and I waited. And then 10 minutes later or so, her internet came back
Mhm.
magically.
It's
And
true.
she said, while I was away, I was thinking about a girl that I'm working with that I think may fit the bill for you.
Yeah.
And her name is Brichelle.
Yeah.
And Brichelle knew nothing about any of this. And she had two jobs at the time, was doing her best to get through, is what you call life, and being younger. I can't imagine, it's hard in any event. So tell us about the conversation you had with Brichelle about the show.
Yeah. So when Kevin and I talked and you were describing all these things, I'm like, this is just perfect for Brichelle. She fits all of these things. She would be brilliant here. This is a space that I would trust that she could grow and be super valued and appreciated because I know Kevin so well and I know that she'd be taken care of. And it's like what she wanted. It was her dream job, if you will. And so it was such a fun experience to be like, hey, talk with my friend Kevin, see what you think. Because I believe that Rochelle would know her truth better than me. And I know that. And I trust that for everyone. Everyone knows their truth better, but I can be the connector and just to give possibility and opportunity. And so it was such a fun experience to connect Rochelle and Kevin. And I love connecting. I love supporting my clients in reaching their goals and their dreams. Like it is like a win all around because I love Kevin and I want Kevin to have the best of the best. Like I want him to have the best people on his team and in his life. And I love Rochelle and I want her to have her dream job. And look how beautiful this is. This energy of it all. It's so magical.
Well, I want to go back 6 months ago, because this is also part of the plan, because Brichelle had gone through a particularly difficult moment in time,
Mm-hmm.
and she ended up, her mother, now tell the story of how you ended up at the sound healing
Yeah.
ceremony.
So at the sound healing ceremony, it was Natalie is her name. She is a Reiki worker, amazing energy that she gives and takes out of you. I'm not playing. Um, my mom goes and sees her. She's really close. They have a really good connection, and she was having this class, and it was a night where you kind of just want to forget about everything that's going on and watch an episode of Tom and Jerry because there's not even words, and you just let yourself go to sleep and you check out. And then I got this boost as I'm sitting in my footy pajamas, and my mom was like, Rochelle, come on, like this could be good for you. I really think you need it, and I'd love to have you there with me. So I got this little feeling that was like, what do you have to lose? Like, are you kidding me? Come on, get up, go with your mom, spend that time. So I pushed myself out of bed, and we showed up, and Dana was the first person I saw when I walked through that door. I've met Natalie before, but when I saw Dana, it was like when it rains and it's all soggy and you feel like kind of lost in like everything may be calm or crazy, whatever. And then in the midst of that, sun comes popping through those clouds. And it's just like this blanket of comfort and healing and understanding. It is such a like when I saw Dana, I just gave her a hug. I said hello, and she said, I'm so happy to see you. And I just gave her a hug. I wrapped my arms around her. And for you that don't know, I am 5 foot tall, teeny tiny, 100-pound little thing. And
And I'm
Dana
six,
is Mama Bear.
I'm 6 feet tall.
Yes. So it was like this mother figure of confidence and stability of such a strong foundation that I have never felt before.
Thank
And
you.
we sat down, we opened up. I got to relate to so many other people and realized that what I was going through that night was not in just myself. Um, and at the end of it, I remember opening my eyes, being the last person outside laying on the blanket, and I was just watching Dana and I was just absorbing her. And I had kind of like, it was a moment where you felt like when you meditate and you kind of float. And it was just this like feeling of release. And she had said that she does work with people. She's a life coach. I was like, girl, I need help. So I went up to her and Dana helped me in the most magnificent ways, things that aren't able to put into words, that don't have a price, that are invaluable in any other life form. And I really give it all to her because I would not be here today feeling the way I do, crying my eyes off for 3 days because I'm just thankful that I'm alive and I have Kevin, I have her, I have me, and that's really what it all comes down to is the people. You can do a lot. You can do a lot and have a lot in your life, but it's the people.
Yeah.
And so now there are 3 sets of guides that are
It's
conspiring
true.
to make this all come together and to work,
True.
because your guides were like, she's ready.
Hmm.
She's
Mhm.
now ready because she's gone through hell and now she wants something better. And
Yep.
she sat in this, you confided in me. I hope I'm not betraying anything, but you sat in your bed and you prayed and you cried
Mhm.
and you were looking for help and guidance. And in my
Yes.
world, and this is for everybody who's listening, when you do that, when you say that, your guides are like, all right, now we can go to
Mhm.
work.
Hmm.
Yep.
And so you got a chance to meet Dana, and then somehow she became your coach because your mother played into that. So I
Yeah,
guess there are 4 sets
it's true.
of guides.
It's true.
Tell us what your mom
And
did for you.
My mom was the most amazing to me. I had gone through a horrible time period that kind of just took me down. I was washed in the gutter. And my mom knew that that's not me and how I function. And day in and day out, she would, no, don't do that. Come on, get out of bed. Let's go on a walk. Let's do this. Let's go plant a plant. Let's do this and that. And at that time, in that section of my life, I remember thinking, I can't let anything go because if I don't have control of it, then it's not safe. And I can't trust that. And when my mom had pulled me out of that and saw that spark in me with what had happened to Dana, she told me, I never got to get you a car and I never got to send you to college and I never saved up this money, and God bless my mom. I do not hold that on her. I cannot even believe the person she has built herself into and made me. um, but then I realized when I started with Dana, when you let go completely, then you are provided completely. And even if it's not what you asked for, it's fulfilling and it feels purposeful and it gives you more value and really grounds you into learning about yourself so that you know how to function and communicate and get through your life and who you want, who you don't, and why. Because I didn't know any of that. And I was so open that I was able to just absorb everything all the time. I could see every point of view and every this and that, which is something my mother gave me. And then Dana just taught me how to control it and let it go and trust myself. Because really, it wasn't that I didn't trust everything else, I didn't trust me. Because I didn't know that if I let go, I still had me and I was safe and I would make it through no matter what. But now I know that. And the things that happen are completely different. I was just telling Dana this about an hour ago is I'm a gray person and there's so many damn shades of gray. You cannot be black or white with me. I can understand you, yes, of course. But can I really involve myself and feel like you understand me rather than just respect me is a completely different thing. Um, I don't know. It's just, I could talk about this all day because really at 25 years old, a few months ago, I was stressed to high hell. I'm like, I'm not going to make it. Like, I'm running out of time. And I thought I had everything I needed and that I planned for the last several years of my life. And it's not that. And now what? Because I didn't have me and I didn't know the next steps. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just kind of wander and bulldoze my way through things because I know how to do that. But that wasn't where my value was, and it's not where I belong. And I never thought I would have seen it this soon. So I'd
It's
love to say that I love me. I'm so proud. Yes, go ahead. Please do.
Before we get into that, Dana, I need to take a quick break for our station break, and we'll be right back with Dana Parker and Rochelle. We're talking about magic, of how it can be, how it can happen in your life if you pay attention, trust, and let it. We'll be right back. You're listening to Positive Talk.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
And welcome back to Positive Talk, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald, and we've got a heck of a show going for you today. We're previewing the fact that Neil Donald Walsch is coming on the show next week or the week after. That's when it'll be on Brushwood Media. But more so, we're talking about his book is about God talks, and God talks to people all the time. God talks to us, and there are ways that he puts things together that we don't get the opportunity to see until it happens. And then if you trust it, it will work for you. So Rochelle meets, and by the way, your mother is the one who paid for Dana to coach you because she felt like you really needed it, and it worked out, and it's continuing to this day, and it works out really, really quite well. And so then Dana mentions you to me, to work with me.
I connect you guys.
Yeah.
Because I needed someone like you, and I wanted somebody Oh, exactly like you. I mean, you could be a couple of years taller, but I mean, I think who is
I'll wear really high heels.
who is exactly like you, to join the team. And
Mhm.
so I called you and we talked, and you were working for the school district doing something, and you were also had another job. So your schedule was full. And
Yes.
I knew that, and that was fine. And I said, it would be great to talk to you more about it and see how it unfolds. Well,
Right.
the universe has a unique way of clearing the way when it's time
Yeah.
for something that they want to have happen. Tell us what happened. Go ahead, Dana.
Can I just speak to something that was said before, and then
Yes,
let's go
ma'am.
because I want to point out a couple of things to our listeners, because this whole topic is reminding me so much of the Albert Einstein quote that says, there are two ways to live. You can live as if nothing is a miracle, or you can live as if everything is a miracle. And I want to talk to this for a second because there's two things I want to highlight, okay? It's your choice. It's your choice to see life as miracles and magical, or to just have it be nothing, right? Nothing. Oh, just coincidence. Oh, that's nothing. Like, continue to brush it off. And for some reason in our world, there's a little bit of this idea that it's foolish to see things as miracles or magical. And what I want to say is that it actually is the thing that breathes life into our life. Like it literally can light us up and bring a newness to life that is so beautiful and magical. We wonder why children have so much energy. It's because they see everything as magical. And it reminds me of what's called the Stockdale paradox. There was a man who was a prisoner of war, and he observed this. He observed the people who were in the prison camp, the people that were just in this space of, we're going to get out soon, and they were just relying on the future hope. That was all they would spend their time in. They would never really be in this understanding of reality. They actually died first, interestingly enough. Because they stayed there, they didn't ever recognize the reality. Those that were just in the weight of reality, the weight of what was going on, that they were so bogged down by their life, they also died. Those people that could pair the two together to bring that magic and miracles and possibility, but also acknowledge how hard things were, acknowledge the moment, acknowledge reality, but not get lost in it. Those are the people that made it through. And here's what I want to say, that magic and miracles, when we start looking for those things, when we start seeing those things and seeing through that lens, it can bring a hope and a lightness to the reality of our life that then sustains us to our most ideal life. That's what Brachelle's life is teaching us right now. That is what she's showing us, is the magic and the reality paired together really get you to where you want to go. So really, is it more foolish to play that magical miracle card, or is it less? And I would dare say from experience, from this story, that it actually is very wise to bring in miracles and magic, to believe in your dreams, along with, here's reality. Okay, how am I going to get to this next place of my dreams, right?
Yes, and I have to say on that topic, perfectly along with that, when Dana reached out to me, so for a background for you listening, I was a lunch lady at a middle school. My little sister goes there. I did not like kids before that. I thought that they were just crude and crazy and overwhelming for me, who already felt like that. But then I realized I'm a lot like them. And I can see through that lens. And during that time, working those two jobs at a dealership and trying to manage that early in the morning, which I loved. Shout out to Canyons District and East Small Middle School. I love everybody there, all those kids. And I got this urge, and it's these miracle things, because in that point in time, I was very, oh, logical. Okay, well, I'm working with Dana and now I'm really breaking it down. Like, these are things I have to do. This is where I have to really recognize what is real and not kind of live in the fantasy land and lie to myself, not necessarily believe things because believing in miracles is always something you should do, but really being in my own mind and being realistic with myself, not telling myself those lies or believing I was somebody that I was not. So I really had to dig down and humble myself and work my butt off and know that right now I have just these focuses and I need to reel it back in a little so that I can allow those miracles and that space of energy to open up to provide for me. I got this urge. I don't obviously have my phone while I'm working. And I had my little locker we had been assigned that day. And I put my phone in there, got an urge to check my phone. I never did that until after work. I had just eaten, I had a few minutes. I went on a walk around the school, communicated with some people. And then I decided, well, I'm gonna grab my phone real quick. I'm gonna check in and see what's going on with my mom. I had been thinking about her all day. I know that she was having a really rough morning. So I went in to go to the facility, the faculty bathroom, and it was locked. So I was like, oh man, like a girl's gotta go. So I went in to just the kids' bathroom. Um, and in that moment, I saw my phone instantly, did not have to go to the bathroom anymore. I saw Dana. She messaged me and she said, Rochelle, call me. I have an opportunity. That was all she said. And I was like, oh man, if Dana sends me a text and then it's urgent like that, like I'm calling her right now. I don't care. I will make that time. So I'm standing there in the children's bathroom and I call Dana and she is berserk. She said that she had just talked to Kevin. She wants me to talk to him as well and meet him. She knows I have more than enough going on, but this is something that could be so good if I'm willing to allow something to work. So I called Kevin. At that point, he knew, like, you're busy, you have a lot of things going on, and you're barely building in that focus for yourself, of allowing opportunity to open up. And since then, I've been pushed out of all those jobs, not for any negative reasons, just the universe, God is like, okay, well, if you're going to open up and you're going to trust us, I'm going to give it to you. And I hope you are ready because it comes so fast. It really does. And I feel like that happened weeks ago. And I remember in that feeling still thinking in my life, like, is this really worth it? Am I going to make it? Like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Like, please. And now it is like, I'm so glad I went in that bathroom and I made that phone call, and the universe just kept pushing and pushing because I planned on not really coming in super strong with Kevin and giving myself that time to continue out what I was finishing. And then it was like, no, actually, let's open up a little more time. The dealership really doesn't need you. That's not logical in your life. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll give that time to Kevin. And then I was at the school for a while pushing through. Things are getting harder and harder. I'm dealing with grief on top of everything in myself that I'm working on. And then one day I prayed after having this thought for a week, like, I love the school and it really gives me that grounding value that I need in my life. But there might also be more because now I've experienced this and I'm okay with letting it go. So I thought. And then the next day, literally the next day, within 12-hour period, I came to this point to where it was like, okay, am I going to continue on with the school or am I going to go full-fledged with Kevin? And it really wasn't even something I had to think about. It was something that already felt like it was happening without me really making the decision. And now I still get to have that communication and that relationship with the school. And I remember telling Dana, I want this to be the last W-4 I fill out. I want this to be the last job where I feel like I work for somebody as an amount of money and that they can put on me and be replaced. And then I talked to Kevin yesterday and I'm pacing and I'm crying and I'm overwhelmed because I'm there. And it didn't happen or feel the way I thought, but it is the most magnificent thing. And
Yeah.
really, like, to anyone who feels that, if you give yourself everything you could imagine someone else giving you that makes you feel of value, or something it could even be, and you do that for you, it will completely reconstruct your vision on things. It will change the way you act and communicate and portray yourself. And God, can I say, will it give you hope? Because when that one step happens, it doesn't stop. And you just start to really become so valued of life, and you feel so damn powerful. I feel like I could go outside right now with a seed and put my hands over it and make it grow. And I want everybody to feel that, because no matter what, we all deserve it. It can change the complete person that you are. And I think it has really helped me understand and be able to forgive people, because I know that change is possible all the time. So thank you so much.
I
for
love
both of
it.
You have changed a tremendous amount in the short time that I've known you.
Yeah.
And we need to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk about the future and what it holds for you and for Dana and me and Positive Talk and what we're doing and why we're doing what we're doing and all that kind of good stuff. We're going to take it's just a minute. Don't go anywhere, anybody. We'll be right back.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. We're talking with Dana Parker. Go to innerworldmovement.com to find out more about her and do what I did, which is decide to work with her, and she'll tell you that there have been significant changes in my world and how I am acting within the world since we started working together. And Brashell is doing the same thing. She is now part of my team. And by the way, you're not allowed from this moment forward to say that you're working for me. You're working with me.
Yeah.
I always work with you. We're together in this.
That's how it rolls. See, because I know, and maybe this is because I've been down this road a bunch, but I know that you were brought to me for a reason. I know that you were brought to Dana because Dana could help you, because the universe feels, and I told you this yesterday, the universe feels like you've got so much to contribute and you're so young and you've got so many things that are going for you that they want to support you in every way possible if you allow it, and you are. And that's why working with Dana, and Dana, am I right in that? Is you've noticed a tremendous amount of change in her, haven't you?
Oh yeah. And this is very common for the clients that I work with, honestly. It is all about bringing people into themselves, deepening their inner confidence, deepening their trust in themselves, because that is what we all deserve and get to step into in order to accomplish our dreams, in order to have our dreams. We must have that inner confidence that's deep. We must have that inner trust, that inner knowing. And so that is my whole goal, is to bring people back to that again and again, and to trust that space that's within them, to then go out and make plans. Because I taught goal setting for years. Make plans then of like, okay, That's what your soul is telling you. Your next steps are, let's do it. Let's step this out. What does that mean from here to there? What does that look like for you? And knowing too that you get to surrender that. Once you make the plans, the universe takes over. And the universe takes over and will help you accomplish that, but it's never the way you imagine, which is so perfectly beautiful. And this is why what Rochelle talked about in releasing control is really important. It's an important part of the process, but also having somebody to be like, oh my gosh, like you fell down. Good job. What are you learning? What are you
You learned something.
You're doing
Yes.
it. Good job. Because our goals will scare all of the crappy beliefs that we hold about ourselves. They'll scare those out. That's
Yes.
the whole point. That's why I celebrate when those things come up. I'm like, yay, these are the things that are not in alignment with those big goals. That's all that's happening. You're just releasing old you,
Yes.
those old ideas, old thoughts. That means you're doing it. And
Yes.
it makes room for the deepening. It makes room for the further of confidence. And it makes room for then the inspired action that then gets you to those dreams. And Kevin, you have been so much fun to work with because you're so quick. You and Rochelle both have been super quick. It's like happened so fast, and you've allowed yourself to deepen that confidence in what you're doing and creating. And we're actually seeing results. That is my favorite thing, is like the results actually are even sometimes so big of what we're looking at with numbers and people listening that we're like, oh my gosh. I keep telling Kevin, like, Kevin, it's real. You're in it.
It's happening. Good job.
Anymore. It's right now. It is happening. And make sure you're just soaking it up. Because
I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, right?
But Rochelle, you don't know this, and I want to make sure that you know this, because
Yes.
one of the things that Dana and I have done is that she helps me get centered, get deep, get into the beta state, and to be able to talk to my guides.
Right.
And there was a point in time when we first met, and you were doing the car thing, you were doing the lunch thing, and you were feeling not very good, and you were sick, and then you had some stuff going on. And and so Dana and I went and had a session because I really needed somebody, and I needed somebody badly, and I needed to find. And so we went into a hypnotic session or a hypnosis session, what do you call it? And and one of the questions was, is Rochelle the one, or shall we continue to look? And I didn't, but my guide said, no, we want you to play this out. We want you to play
And
this
Kevin
out.
told me that for you listening. He told me, I told myself during that state that I made a promise to let this play out completely, fully, till the end.
And it ended up that the car dealership it's a used car dealership. What do you want? It's a used car dealer. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm over that. I've done it enough.
And there was that guy, and that went away. And then the school, which to my understanding was looking for contract players to go into next year with, and you weren't going to do that. And so they were like, well, we're going to give those hours to somebody else. And so all of a sudden you went from 2 jobs and not available to no jobs and completely available. And that was, I knew that was by divine design.
Yes.
That those things would happen. Then you could come work with us, and then this will be, if I have anything to say about it, this will be your last job that you'll ever have in your life.
Yes. And it doesn't feel like a job, so I thank you so much for that, especially just because I really have the supporting passion that you do. I mean, I would rather go out and make a difference and make somebody feel good during the day than go buy myself something or, make some amount of money. And on the note that you guys both just said, I linked them together. And I remember the other day telling Kevin that I didn't think this was going to feel the way that it did, because I don't know if any of you have ever felt like this, and Kevin, I mentioned this to Dana, but it is really uncomfortable almost when you lose that part of yourself that Dana had mentioned. Like you get created into something else, and it feels like you go through a heartbreak inside of yourself, and you've learned to love that part so much, that busy me that had those 2 jobs, that was just like so scared and stressed to let go of things because I was holding on so tight already and still didn't have control. And now I'm succeeding in so many things, and I'm making more money, and I'm spending less time working really hard. I mean, I love that job at the school, but it was very hard on my body for what I was going through medically. And since this last week and a half I've been with you, Kevin, I've been able to achieve so many things inside my work, outside my work. I from what I'm even learning with you during the day, and how you are wanting to run this podcast and what you want to make of it is helping me in how I live my life and how I communicate with people. I was in an Uber 2 days ago, and I was like, hey, like, he asked me what I did for work, and well, now I'm not going to shut up. You probably shouldn't have asked that question because I could go forever. Like, my Uber driver got told to watch a podcast, and yes, I wasn't kidding. And if you're listening, go you, dude. Thank you for the ride and beautiful car. But I was just telling Dana, I've been doing so good, and everything around me is so good, and I've learned that not just thinking things but feeling them creates it. So I'm not going to put myself into a space of, okay, everything's good right now, what's going to go wrong? Because no, I deserve this. This is safe, and it is okay. This can be normal. I just have to allow it to be that way. But it is extremely uncomfortable, and a lot of the times it's like I feel like I'm hurting because I'm grieving me, and I'm so proud of who I was and how much broken and bent and pressure she could take, because me now would never even allow that to happen. And she got me here. So I have to love her. And I'm also starting to see that new me that's like, whoa, who are you, little goddess you?
Yeah,
like,
right?
you got this, and you can do it. And I can make anything how I want to make it based off of how I see it in my mind. Because if I tell myself yes or no, it is yes or no. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
We've got to go, Dana, but real quick.
Okay, real quick. I just want everyone listening to know that sometimes it's normal when we go through really hard periods of time or hard relationships, those positive things that happen, we might not trust it. And so pay attention to how you feel in your body. Pay attention to how you feel about those things. Your body just needs to be told it's safe to enjoy this. It's safe to trust this positive moment that's taking place right now. So I just wanted to mention that. As
believe it. Soak it up.
Because it can become the adventure of a lifetime. Thank you, you two. We're gonna do this again. This was way too much fun.
Love this.
So thank you, everybody. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We are a production of KMmedia.pro, a full-service media company. Whether it is audio, video, shorts, or longer pieces, we're able to take each project from beginning to final product within your time frame and on budget. Visit KMmedia.pro for more details about us and to get started on your project. We also would like to thank the Brushwood Media Network for all their support. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com to find out more about them and the quality shows featured on the network. Until then, we'll see you next time. My name again is Kevin McDonald, and please remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.